Ladies and gentlemen, thank you and super cheers to you. Thor News has reached its monthly July 2020 fundraiser. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you. You guys are awesome, and I love you. Happy 4th of July. Happy full moon. Happy pre-eclipse. Thank you for being so cool. Thank you for all your good wishes, prayers, thoughts. And this may not be the greatest video ever. It may just be me the whole time going, man, I'm exhausted, but I'm having trouble sleeping. So cheers. And for some reason, my hackers are really pissed off today. When I finished the live video, I went to my laptop and it was just freaking out super style. So I had to reset the whole thing. And then when I finished resetting, they were still in the machine, and so they're just persistently very upset. For whatever reason, they always get super upset around the holidays, man. It's really bizarre. It's like a reoccurring theme. No matter what holiday it is, even like St. Patty's Day, they're getting pissed off, and that is how they're spending their time in some weird energetic connection with me. And so, that's why I was like, all right, I'm just going to play guitar and say thank you. The weird irony is that I don't even know if I would have hit my Thor News fundraiser goal if I hadn't gone live then. And the only reason I went live was because hackers were messing with me trying to make videos. And so it all karmically worked out. And thanks to Asteroid Fight Club. I love you guys. That beer tastes weird, but good. Every beer has, even the same beer you drink, it has different flavor cycles. I guess that would be freshness or whatever, but who knows? Oh, so my second story, since you and I talked last, went to the beer store, right? Everybody in the beer store is wearing their mask. I'm wearing my mask. Guy comes into the store, not wearing a mask. The guy behind the plate glass says, hey, you got to wear a mask. He started grumbling until I pulled out a beer, put it in my hand in case fight mode went on. I'm ready. I'm always weaponized if I'm out, although I don't carry guns. Everything else can be a weapon if you're in a fight. But I bought him a mask. I de-escalated the situation by buying the mask this dude a mask, because it doesn't matter if you are in a bar, a beer store, a grocery store, a bookstore, whatever store is open, you got to wear a mask now in Texas, man. That is the law. And so, whether it be police officers getting this shit, people at restaurants getting this shit, the grocery store workers getting people's shit, like, I'm definitely protective of the grocery store and convenience store workers around me, because their job just got harder, having to tell everybody you got to wear a mask going to the store. I don't know, so I was glad that I could de-escalate a situation by buying someone a mask. I said, stay cool and help keep all grandmas alive. Happy 4th of July. So thank you, Asteroid Fight Club. And it's really not that hard. Like, he was buying beer. Like, man, to buy the beer, all you gotta do is put the mask on, buy your beer, everybody's happy, no conflicts. So I was mentally prepared for conflict, because I was gonna make sure he wasn't gonna do anything to the cashier, and then B, I wanted to de-escalate the conflict by buying him a mask. So yay. So I felt like a hero in that moment. And it was no big deal. But it's the strange thing about life. Like, they're the people who pick on the people they can. whether it's like waiters. Like, have you ever been around people who treat waiters like shit? Like, I really don't like people who treat waiters like shit. Like, if you go out of your way ever to treat a waiter like shit, you're probably a super shitty person. And I'm not trying to be judgmental asshole 4th of July Thor, but I'm just saying, out of the people that instantly give off a glow that they're not the best people you will ever know, it's the people who are mean to like waiters or cashiers. And like I said, I worked at a bookstore for 5 years. And the amount of people that would yell at me or tell me I was horrible or call me names just because I'm behind a cash register when you're buying your true crime fucking book, lady. You know, like people tell you, you should go home and kill yourself. You're like, well, I'm sorry you couldn't use the coupon with the discount that's already on it, lady. But I'm going to be fine. I'm just saying, so it's what, like, hackers are like a different level of people who are mean to waiters or people who are mean to cashiers. Like, some people can be mean whenever they get the chance. I'll never understand those people. And, for a couple decades, I've had a reputation as a guy who can step into a fight that just breaks out in the middle of nowhere and then de-escalate the whole thing. Although it is much harder to do with hackers because they're so passive aggressive. And the weirder thing is that the plague has put more hackers at their computer every single day. And so at least they used to take breaks and go out into the world and do stuff. But now you have more hackers at their box now. Like I said, I don't mind. I have honestly told y'all that like 2 years, definitely since April of 2018, I've had hackers, like you guys have even seen in the super chat money. I didn't ever raise any super chat money, even though it was on for the last year, 2 years in front of your eyes. Like, I think people were donating, but it was being siphoned off to other people. So I never saw it. You never saw it. I would get people upset with me like, hey, you didn't thank me. I was like, well, I never saw it. So how can I thank you? And so they have been stealing my money from my old phone on my live chats for 2 years. And at one point in time, they hacked into my PayPal. They hacked into everything. And they had a key to my P.O. box at the time. And so they had me on the fucking ropes, dude. I was so close to being done. And then they totally screwed up my machine to where I couldn't get it to work again. I wouldn't log into whatever boot drivers. But that when someone came in with a hard little reinstall that you had to do from scratch with the Windows disk, I got it to rework again. But I was out for a week or two. What is my point? My point is that they've been just been I've been trying to keep track for 30 months. This group I call Team Chumpy has been totally messing with me. And from the 27th to the 2nd of every month, they're very aggressive, or can be. They've been cool this time until today. And then usually on the 4th or 5th, they totally freak out because Thor News is still around to talk to you guys about plagues, volcanoes, comets, hurricanes, floods, economics, India, China, nuclear war, fucking Silicon Valley, all the planetary defense subjects. And that as Americans, our voice is we each get a voice. And I was thinking about this when I went for my walk. That the same reason, the women, they are the women who are the best singers on earth, and their natural speaking voice is just like a thing of magic. And at times I have the same kind of quality voice to where my voice can be like magic. So I'm not surprised that I'm attracted to vocally the same quality. And I'm not saying I can hit the notes like Ariana Grande. But if you got to hear me talk about shit for a while, or you had to have me laying next to your ear on a pillow my voice can be wonderful or whatever, you know? Whoo! Hey, like I said, this may be the worst Thor news video ever. I've got a lot of shit to get off my chest. But I'm saying that, like, the freedom of speech, the freedom, you know, that, like, here's the weird part. That, like, if you want to be a dipshit Nazi, technically you're free to have the worst belief system out there. Like, you're free to be a dumbass in America. You're not free to not wear a mask and put other people in danger now. But you're free to think whatever stupid ass shit. Like, if you want to be a white supremacist, you can. We have freedom of religion and freedom of stupidity in America. I definitely wouldn't recommend it, but I'm saying that, like, it's the weird policing people's belief system while at the same time allowing them to be free. And so I feel like I have been on the other end of this giant spiritual battle to where the giant machine that is trying to keep the narrative red or blue, they have been coming after me, man, because I do not get into the red or the blue shit. That I like, since I've been here, I'm all for random, wacky, outside of the box thinking. I'm not a joiner of groups. I like being my own dude, man. I'm a Sagittarius. I like my freedom. And so it is weird that, like, I'm still dealing with the same groups and truth community groups who are all pushing a unified fucking message. Like, do you know how dumb you look? You sold the people for 5 years a mini fucking ice age. You told everybody and their fucking grandmother, here comes the mini ice age, y'all. Shit is gonna freeze. It's gonna get real cold. Woo! So now if you bring it up with them, they'll be like, well, before a mini ice age, there's always intense heat periods. Which is like, whatever, basically, you know, it's like with the grand solar minimum or with the mini ice age, whatever the fuck you say to them, they're going to be like, we are correct. No matter what the data says, we are right. And so if there was one theory that they totally missed the mark on, is that we are not, even though we're in a deep solar minimum, we're not in a fucking mini ice age, bro. New England and Nova Scotia area are breaking fucking heat records. Key West, Florida, smashing heat records. We're gonna have a giant heat wave in the end of fucking July. We are not in a fucking heat wave. And in their videos during any type of winter season, just in the video, it's like, hey, there's snow. Hey, it's cold in this one spot in the world. And so, like, at the end of the day, there's still mini Ice Age salesmen, although they don't hashtag that shit as much. And so, I appreciate having the freedom to say, we are not in a fucking mini Ice Age. I appreciate the freedom to say, this is not a grand solar minimum. I could be wrong. We're definitely going to have to watch over the next decade or 2 decades or 3 decades. But the past does not decide the future. And that knowing 140 years of what the sun has done against its billion-year lifespan, and it seems like a counterbalance of you got Democrats trying to sell you a fucking carbon tax, and you got Republicans trying to sell you a fucking grand solar minimum. And I'm the guy who's been like, we don't know what the sun is doing. We just know the sun is weird, and the moon is weird, and the sky is weird. So let us pay attention and not be quick to observe and then just draw conclusions, which means we kind of stop observing and we try to push all of our fucking observations into the group hive mind conclusion. Cheers. So thank you to all the people out there who have allowed me and supported me to, like, have the same fucking opinion I've had for 8 years almost of saying, like, dude, it's all weird and it's gonna get weirder. And anyone trying to tell you exactly what is happening right now is talking out of their fucking ass. Nobody knows what's gonna happen next. And not a single one of those motherfuckers were like, hey, be on the lookout for a plague. They're the same guys who, when the plague showed up, they're like, the plague's not real. You don't have to protect your grandmother. You don't have to protect your grandfather. You ain't got to protect your mother. You ain't got to protect your fucking father. It's a fake, it's a hoax plague. And they never thought twice about the grandmothers and grandfathers they may have killed. And then at some point, I think karma may show up and give those people what they deserve for giving millions or billions of people bad information. For sacrificing other people's grandmothers for their stupid ass political beliefs. Sacrificing grandmas for a bad mini ice age that never will show up in our lifetime. Cheers. To the Magic 17 here with me now. Cheers to everyone at Astro Fight Club. And so that's all I'm saying. It's the same groups that are pushing a flag on you and they're pushing patriotism on you are doing what they can digitally to restrict your freedom of speech, and they are not fighting fair. But somehow they're not doing so great. They were doing super until the plague showed up. And now they're not doing so great. And for somehow, I always use a Taylor Swift QAnon metric. Like, how happy is Taylor Swift today? If you compare Taylor Swift's happiness in 2017 to Taylor Swift's happiness in 2020, somehow that is a measure of where my hackers are at. I'm the guy who tried to help us avoid the plague. I'm not the guy who fumbled the ball 100 times and led us into the plague. That is not me. And I still go back to that point where Trump was like, peace with Russia, peace with Saudi Arabia, peace with North Korea. We want peace on earth. And Putin handed him a soccer ball. And I got so excited. I was like, yes, peace on earth. But then they were like, fuck no, we were rolling back the clock to 2015. I was like, oh no, this is a bad idea. And so the same fucking people who in 2017 who rolled the clock back to 2015 are now watching everything they have totally crumble. The empires that they built. Yeah, I had said before, the bullies are not going to do well in 2020. I said that several times in 2019. That this is a super karma year, and that your actions over the last 8 years of the Mayan cycle, that like all the people that have endured and continue to be good people with a good heart, that like our days, our solar maximum is coming. Better days are ahead. The people who just like to torture and be mean, they're having a real difficult time now because everybody's sick of their shit. Because there's a difference between me coming in and saying, hey guys, hospitalizations in Texas have gone from 1,200 to 7,000 in a month. And coming in being like, George Soros is going to G5 your butthole with Nibiru and the devil, and they're going to microchip your brain, and so the blue beam is going to torture you for the rest of your fucking life. and they're all using pedo juice. And so like the conversation is over. And that's not even a good fact point. You know, that like having Agenda 2030 bumper stickers, that is not, it's like selling people hopelessness, or it's selling people powerlessness. So I don't know, dude. It's the same people who refuse to unite and work together over the last decade are now not enjoying 2020. None, doesn't seem like anybody's really like 2020 is my favorite year ever, but a lot of people are having a hard time with now. I have my moments. I'm sort of sick of this foxhole. But today, I am so grateful. I have my own little efficiency with electricity and beer and cigarettes, and that I have a YouTube channel. That I have a means, a stage where I can say what I say. I can put my beliefs out there against people's bad beliefs, what I believe, you know? So I'm so grateful for that. Like, I've had an incredible amount of freedom. I've been able to tell you guys whatever I wanted to say. And there's still a lot of bangers that I've never really mentioned. Because it's like, what level are we at, you know? Like the big one is the oil thing of like when everybody realizes how big the lie is and how deep it goes and how every single community's been involved, and like, man, how can you even think about politics if you know what I'm talking about is correct? Then how can you even like spend a single fucking second when the 134 years we've been sold a total lie, and that the lie has been there to make sure gasoline is as expensive as possible, and that like supposedly gasoline creates the little explosions in your car engine, and those tiny little explosions give it the energy to push your car forward, and that in 134 years they've never come up with something that creates little explosions better than gasoline. Like, how dumb do you have to be to buy that shit? And that unless the person trying to talk to you about the future, the truth, the good guys, the bad guys, is pointing that single fact out as the largest hurdle humanity has to get over, then they are wasting your time politically. And it's a giant battle that I've been in for 20 years of like, how do we take the hurdle step over now into the future? And it seems like a lot of people have been like, that is impossible. So we're just going to make every penny we can off the old system. We're just going to make as much money, petroleum dollars, as we can off the old system. And we're going to fucking forbid anything better ever coming along. And at some point, we're going to execute rock and roll. Take it off the planet. I don't know what has been the official Oppenheimer Fund's position on petroleum and natural gas. Which ways has Oppenheimer Funds, which is what, a $43 billion company? I think Oppenheimer Funds is technically bigger than BlackRock. At this point, it seems like I've been getting along better with the Goldman Sachs people, better with the Rothschilds, better with the BlackRock people than I have the Oppenheimer Funds people. Fuck. Wagon breath. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You got this so. As Theresa pointed out, and my mom used to say that I have something called fear of success. And I personally, yeah, like getting rich or famous has always seemed to have some negative aspects. So it's weird. Like I said, I'm doing better now than I was in 2018. And so I'm having to readjust to doing better. And I thank you and y'all. I thank you. Thank you. And I'm going to play guitar soon, I promise. Just trying to get everything off my... That's what the whole drinking a bottle of whiskey was. Like, trying to get all the pent-up rage out. And if you're just joining us, dude, that last NeoWise video I made, hackers were literally shutting off my microphone. So I would get like a 3-second window before I could turn it on, they could shut it off. So I was trying to get the thank yous in. And so I went live. And then when I went back to my computer, they had deep six the whole fucking thing to where when you log in, it just goes like, so I had to reset the whole thing. But I've told you guys that, you know, before every fundraiser, they freak out on me. And then when a fundraiser's over, they spend a couple days mad at me. And it's always tied to the Taylor Swift QAnon Oppenheimer Funds Index, Petroleum Index. Which is weird. But I thank you guys. And someone in the other video said I was fat. I was like, all right, let's see how skinny you are after 2 years of lockdown, motherfucker. And I love you. I don't mean that motherfucker in a bad way. Well, like, sure, in Rocky Part 7, during quarantine, Rocky is doing 1,000,000 push-ups and 1,000,000 sit-ups and running his little laps in his little one-bedroom, half-bedroom apartment. You know? But I have not done that because I've been plugged into the fucking Matrix the whole time. And there have been days where, like, I still talk about Twitter. Twitter's the thing to where, like, you are plugged into the Matrix full on. And Twitter's like the news ticker tape where if it is an earthquake or a fireball or a war breaking out or the dumbest shit anybody ever said, like, that shit is going to be on Twitter faster than everything. And so a lot of times when I can scoop a subject and put out the first video on the planet about whatever that subject is, it happens because I'm staring at Twitter. But Twitter is like, if you understand the X-Men, Twitter is the battle room. We know that there's a spiritual warfare happening on our planet. Twitter is like just the ultimate fight. Where like everybody's just fighting on Twitter. Everyone's battling to have the superior opinion. Or if you're a young female, superior selfie. Though I'm sure some of that game spills over into Snapchat and Instagram. I don't spend a whole lot of time on those programs. Because it takes a while for earthquakes and volcanoes to filter to Instagram and Snapchat. And TikTok. And can I say this again? Even though I repeat information a lot. Dude, they were stealing your data. Whether it be TikTok, Facebook, Google, Twitter. Like, they've been tracking you and everything you say, everything you do, every heartbeat you had, every temperature up and down. They've been tracking that shit for a fucking decade. And they have, like, I don't know the proper definition for it, but like ultraviolet cameras. Like, they have cameras built into every phone and every laptop that is recording you on like heat and it. Like, every fucking laptop and phone has like minimum 6 back doors built into it. Which now makes the whole, but like everybody's fearing like a microchip when we're technically all microchipped already, bro. That's the whole microdusting. Um, and so like now the proper thing would be track and trace the plague. But we're not going to be able to do that. The same motherfuckers that won't wear a mask, there's like double them who literally fear any type of data sharing. But where all of our data is being shared already. It's crazy. And someone has said Silicon Valley stole. It's been a weird process, but yeah, like the whole power thing to where people used to be like bankers are in control, and then Silicon Valley stole the power, man. And so like so much power is in 20 guys' names, and so when they have you focused on like Hillary, or they have you focused on Trump, or they have you focused on George Soros, like, dude, the biggest power players of the data game, you do not know their names. I need people to understand that. Like King of the Dark Web, you don't know his fucking real name. And so that, yeah, Silicon Valley disrupted the apple cart. That's why, for metaphorical sense, I've said that there has been the old money 13. We had them for at least the last 100 years, probably 500 years, since King Arthur, 1,000 years. The old money 13, and even they changed a little. And that the old money 13 thought they were getting control of the future, but at the same time, Silicon Valley was getting control of the future through deep fakes. Like, you could easily deep fake Donald Trump getting pissed on by 100 different people, right? Like, you could, that's like, would be easy as fuck to do. You could deep fake anything. You don't need actors anymore. They have processed every voice into a vocalizer to where they don't need singers anymore technically. And that is why we saw the whole music game, how like music got totally like under control. And then they had a few of the players that you know sing. Not only are they in one band that you know, a lot of the like side bands with the one hit wonders, they're also in those bands. Like, they're playing multiple roles in the tiny little digital music community. That way they can pick and choose their winners, just like the Federal Reserve does. And so, definitely since 2012, the digital shit stole the power from like the 13, which I now call the Silicon Valley 6. And it's definitely interesting where, like, I talk about, like, Jeff Bezos can get to $10 trillion, but he's still one man made of flesh and blood. And it's still a careful balance because the 300, the families of 300 are the ones who are keeping it all together. And it seems clear that there have been quite a few groups who are willing to sell out everybody, including the 300 and everybody below them. And the whole gene altering to where Elon Musk was talking about the other fucking day, to where at one point you get rich enough, they can get it to where you can live healthily for 100 or 200 years. And the amount of abuse that could happen if someone could live in that span would be tenfold. Can you hear the helicopter flying over right now? Yeah, so we're dealing with a lot of crazy shit, man. And I've mentioned, and for my job, I hope Bill Gates is not evil. For my job, I hope Jeff Bezos is not evil. For my job, I hope fucking Elon Musk is not evil. I hope Larry Gates, or Larry Page, and Sergey Brin are not evil. I hope Mark Zuckerberg is not evil. I hope all the names of the powerhouses of other countries are not evil. And that we've lived in a greed is good society since the 80s. I mean, that was literally from like the 80s till grunge. Greed is good was the way. And so then it just got more passive aggressive on greed being good. And that they distract you with politics and race stuff and gender stuff and sexuality stuff and religious stuff to hide their greed. But I did say that like greed would rule until September of 2020, and I said that in 2017. And so we're at the point in September where we're bookending the 2001 eclipse period where we're going to go in a different direction. Like greed will no longer rule. You can go into a very negative greed doesn't rule. You can go into a thing where violence is currency. I would definitely like to avoid that. I think there are a lot of good signs. But I have a habit of getting extremely optimistic. And I was sure by seeing Selena Gomez 5 times in person, but never talking to her, at one point I would get to hold her hand. I was wrong. I was wrong. I was wrong. Oh, life's not over yet. But our Silicon Valley boys may have deep more insecurities than Selena Gomez does. Oh, so it's the thing that I drew the other day. I showed you guys in the last video. I was talking about chaotic neutral. We're in a very chaotic neutral zone. Apparently I drew 5 women. Baby Doll, Amber, Blondie, Rocket, and I didn't name the 4th one, or the 5th one. Oh, I've been slowly working on a Western. Don't steal the name, but it's called The Christmas Kid. Flip it around, it says Sacred Rage. And the notes under it says Halloween, Butch, Red Feather, Blue Feather. What is this? Here it says Naga gangs, pirate gangs, gypsy gangs, pilot gangs, witch gangs, Inquisition gangs. That's about the Christmas Kid Western. Well, in the Western age, there's just a bunch of gangs. Although the Christmas Kid is the best gunfighter that's ever walked the earth. He's the seventh brother of 7 brothers. Although all of his brothers are dead. They all trained him, though. It's a good story. It's cool, man. Oh, so somebody was talking about Britain in the chat. And that, yeah, Britain's been a powerhouse for a long time. And that even with the EU, like, Americans don't seem to really pay attention to anything else, any other country. So they've had Brexit going on, and it looks like they're going to have Brexit happen. And at the time, it looked like everybody was undoing all the old treaties and deals so we could move closer to a peace and people working together situation. And so for like the first 2 years of Donald Trump undoing everything, I thought maybe it will be good that he's undoing all regulations for everything, because that will put us in a position to create a better system. But the last year has been so fucking shitty, and watching the response to the plague has made me thought, yeah, somewhere at the end of 2017, we just changed directions. That plans got overridden. And now the Silicon Valley is definitely acquiring tons of power, tons of money. And, if shit goes sideways, billions of people could die. And if shit goes real sideways, everybody dies. And so, like, things are either going to get worse until they fall apart, or they're going to get worse until we get our shit together. And this is a 195 nation deal. This is a 7 billion people deal. We are working out the future here together now. And that's why I thank you, Asteroid Fight Club, and all my protectors and spiritual warriors and prayer grandmas and moms and dudes. Honestly, I've been surprised that I'm alive every moment since 2015, because the game has just been so fucking insane. Like, our job was to stop World War III in 2015. We did that. That we've had the hyperinflation red flag since 2018. They postponed it with cryptocurrencies, so we beat the hyperinflation point of 2018. Okay, so if I was putting feathers in my cap, it wasn't me that did it all by myself, but I was on a team that, like, these major hurdles that we had to get over, we have done it while I was Planetary Defense Commander. But 2020 is like a whole different game. And it's part of the thing where Silicon Valley took control of the money. Like, the actual money numbers of currency base printed since 1999 is fucking insane. You could crash the currencies probably guess 100 times over. And that one of the jobs of cryptocurrencies is to keep the fiat from hyperinflating. Like, literally balance out fiat currencies with cryptocurrencies kind of taking up all the excess that would cause it to crash. I hope you understand that. And so it both saved us or postponed a problem, but it then created a larger imbalance. Like at one time, but like someone who claimed to be Satoshi Nakamoto was like, "Yo, dude, I watched your channel." And I was like, "Thanks, dude. I had a feeling." So cryptocurrency is chaotic neutral. And I don't think anybody, like 99.999% of the world, don't want the like everything to catch on fire, civilization to collapse, babies, mamas, everybody getting raped and then killed and murdered. That is not what 99.9% of the people want. Babies, mamas. And from the age of 15, I spent all my time believing, 33 years believing that I would find the woman and we would have our babies. And I would be one of the best dads ever. Now I don't know. Shit, my standards are so high, I don't even know if I'm gonna get to kiss a pretty lady again. And I definitely think good couples, gay or straight, like good couples should be getting stronger during all this. And no matter what it is, if you're a good couple or a good team or a good pair, no matter what challenges you're faced with, you should be getting stronger. So, like in theory, Astro Fight Club should be getting stronger during 2020. And part of this strength will help carry us over the next decade. Was it what today? Was it Texas? Because a lot of some of my friends work for universities. But they're in the like they do the work part with the video or the systems and or they teach. And so I think it was in Texas today that said, or somebody today said, prepare for all fall school to be online. Which is, like I said, we got to deal with this shit for 2 more years. So definitely playing defense and being smart is the way to go. And hopefully by 2022 we can get back to all of our in-person stuff, but in a new way. But I'm just saying that it's like you watch the pro sports teams. They are trying to force a giant plague bunny into a tiny square hole. And it is fucking crazy to watch. You know, where like right now, the NBA is like, all right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to have like half of our teams show up in Disneyland and play a basketball game or like play X amount of games. And then baseball and football are talking about how they're going to try to have seasons this season. And it's just, and they're talking about possibly having award shows. It's like, what the fuck are you people talking about? Like, and I honestly believe, and you don't have to agree with me, that the summer sunlight heat, it is making the virus harder. And I could be wrong, but it's making the virus harder to be as strong or as deadly. But that when the cool does come around, and especially if we get into winter mini ice age conditions, that the virus will become more potent again. And so I mean, I've talked about the 3 phases of 2020. The phase leading up to July 4th, and then from July 4th to September, Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. And that everybody will be playing whack-a-mole in a really weird way because nobody has a plan. And like all of the power and energy and money in America is always focused on a singular presidential election. And so that like our plans for the next 10 years are being decided on an election that is supposed to take place in 5 or 6 months. And I've talked about how, like, dude, okay, if you're Planetary Defense Commander, you definitely have Trump doubles. You have Obama doubles that, like, if he is really the leader of the absolute free world and the guy who's calling all the shots, the most powerful man in the world, he's the guy calling all the shots that will affect everybody. You're not letting him fucking go to rallies, bro. Like, your whole squadron of Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, National Guard, like, you're not letting the Commander-in-Chief run around during plague time. I don't think. As Planetary Defense Commander, I wouldn't do it. Like, it's my job to protect him and keep him alive. And so, like, at this point, I'm surprised if he has been using doubles, what number double are they on? Because it would be hard for me to think that he could be not have the virus. Unless they really do have a fucking vaccine and they've only given it to like 0.0001% of the people. And so they are not going to get it. And then so they're just having fun watching everybody else get it. Some weird shit, dude. That's why anyone who's like, I know exactly what is happening, how it's going down, of all 7 billion people, 195 countries, and 100 secret societies, I know it all. That's not the way I would be playing my cards right now. What the fuck are we going to do about space exploration? We have been talking about being on the moon by 2024, which seems super possible. I'm sure if we had to, we could be in the moon in 6 months. Or less. Oh yeah. I love you. Me and 41 people. 3rd of July. I can hear fireworks in the background. And as I was walking back from the beer store, there were fireworks going off in the sky. I'm pro fireworks. And the moon is giant and bright. And I should play guitar now. But I want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for having been here. Thank you for being cool. And that things are still going to change. We're going to be in a constant state of flux all year. And that by situation of circumstance, it seems like a lot of the kings of 2019 have been demoted. So let the best idea and let the best plans win. Okay, this is the guitar section of the show. I am nowhere near the top 1,000 guitar players. I just like to play. If you'd like to hang out, that's great. At some point, I would like for a lot of us to hang out in a giant field under a dark Texas sky, watch the stars. Hopefully, it would be around some type of a meteor shower, because fireworks are like fireballs, man. And every single time I've seen a shooting star, I've been like, wow! So if we could hang out in a giant Texas field, drinking beers, looking at the stars, and everybody just being cool. Like round earthers and flat earthers just gotta agree for like 100 hours to just hang out and be cool and nobody argue about shit. That would be so great. It'd be cool if I had a whistle. Where like I could whistle, and if I would try not to use the whistle. But that meant everybody had to be quiet. But like I said, at this hangout night that I've been dreaming about forever, we would have Dave Chappelle and Dave Grohl as the like party masters. And so if there was any type of dispute or argument that were to break out over the next 100 hours, Dave and Dave would have to decide on it, and then it would be resolved. They would be our conflict resolution team for our 100-hour star watching, beer drinking party. You know, because all the energy would be focused on everybody having a good time. I said there would be rain? Do you remember when I said there would be glory? Well, the sun is back again. The sun is back again. The sun is back again. Yeah. That's part one. But they say the sun is at a minimum and it won't wake up for a long time. sun is always there. I got an idea. So you take the green, I'll take the blue. They won't conquer me, and they won't conquer you. I'm gonna get another beer. You want one? Whoa. Score. Okay. But there are people who say we will lose. By telepathic request. Sitting on shooting stars, waving at empty cars. Tell me, do you see it? It ain't the first time and it won't be the last time. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. And I've got unicorn feelings, their motions and their meanings. I've got unicorn feelings, their motions and their meanings. I like that song. That's why I can play it. It's like I write a song for a minute, and then I'm like, oh my god, everything just got really complicated. I cannot push this song any further. So I stop. It's a weird process, man. Okay. Why can't we just get along? Why can't our love last longer than the average pop song in my heart? I'm singing it proud. Oh no, love, I think we're coming down. Look out now, here comes the ground. Whoa. Whoa. Oceans, mountains, and lakes, rivers, forests, and earthquakes. My heart melts into you. Everything's fine now, your hand is in mine now. Everything's fine now, your hand is in mine now. Our future looks so bright, and I'm so glad you're here with me tonight. are great. Shout out to Keanu Reeves. That dude is cool. I'm glad that Keanu Reeves has been on the planet for the last 40 or 50 years, whatever it is. I'm definitely glad that Keanu Reeves has been around. Because he's Ace River. Asterisk of Dave Grohl. You know, what's it talking about? Cool dudes, man. Cool dudes. Okay, so we've discussed there being powerful characters on the planet. So if you were my therapist, for a whole fucking decade, I've had to think about Selena Gomez a lot. And there's a partial madness from that, for sure. Especially after seeing those hips so up close. You know, what's it talking about? I don't even know. Crazy. Yeah, like out of all the Earthlings, there are those who've been out here 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. And so it's still like a fixed group amount. So we have all 7 billion of us have been on this planet for 30, 40, 50, 60 years. And it's all still been the same people in the same high school that is Earth. I was like, bitch, what you gonna do now? And I mean that in the most loving way possible. So yeah, if like over the next 2 years somehow we got to do some Marvel, DC, animated. I mean, there are short stories, medium stories, show. Like you can do so much with that. There's so much you could do with that. And when you think about animation, you think of it at like next level animation. Like the stuff we saw in the latest Spider-Man animated feature, there's so much you could do. Like everybody's an adult now, so all the stories you could tell could be pretty super magnificent. Or whatever. Now turn the lights on. All right. But I'm in love with several women, probably. Crushes and muses. Okay, great. I'm probably gonna have to turn the lights on because I have to look at the guitar for this one. Maybe? Walking down the street, a girl walked up to me. She said, "Can I get a ride?" I said, "You look slutty." She tried to hit me, but boy, I'm so fast. She fell on her cute little. But I picked her up and then we went for a drive. We got married, we divorced, and then she died. But I never lied, I never cried, cause the bitch always lied, and she was no good for me. I don't know, it was always like if you went to some type of blues contest and had to sing some type of super Dorsian blues, Rolling Stones, Guns N' Roses, you know, you show up at the saloon and all the gunfighters and you're like, all right, if you got to play a sad song about a broken heart you had one time, play it. So that would probably be it. And so the lyrics today may seem disrespectful to people, but it's not meant to be. Alright. And I feel like it's like a decent piece of storytelling. Like if you're a bard in town, you're like, hey dude, tell your little bard story for 2 minutes. Don't bore us. And I'll be like, all right. I was walking down the street. A girl walked up to me. She said, can I get a ride? I said, you look slutty. She tried to hit me, but boy, I'm so fast. She fell on her cute little. Then I picked her up and we went for a drive. We got married, we divorced, and then she died. But I never cried, 'cause the bitch always lied. She was no good to me. So that's what I do. I go, all right, I'm gonna write a part of a chorus and a part of a verse, and I'm done. Bam. And it's been a while since I wrote a new song. So that can drive you nuts, just like Beautiful Women. That can drive you not being able to write a new song. And go ahead and take your time. I know it won't be long. Go ahead and take your time. I know it won't be long. Something's off on that one. Oh. And that was the newest little thing I've been trying to work with. Anyway, alright. Where we at? I'm still on song number 1, but I have another part I have not played this time. Nope, not that one. I have walked the longest road. I could tell you tales of the universe as it unfolds. What? See, there's to work on those lyrics. All right, here we go. What? You can't handle the truth. It's funny you bring that up. It was Tom Cruise's birthday, and I like Tom Cruise. He has done great shit as far as actors go and playing heroic characters. And so I watched the 2-minute scene between him and Jack Nicholson. And so definitely, you take all your earthlings and our finest actors you could put on a screen and then put a camera and find them, and the crew and writers, producers and directors. They're like, Tom Cruise, that whole scene is one of the greatest scenes that ever was created, that man ever did, when we were trying to have this discussion about moving civilization forward. That is one of the, you can't handle it. You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall while you sit at your fancy parties. The scene is so fucking amazing on every level. And the whole like, I think better with my baseball bat. And the Christopher McQuarrie movie he did, Forever Tomorrow, or I don't know, that movie is super underrated. And when I lived in Austin and I worked at an arcade as manager, that arcade was right in the right next to the Scientology building. And so a lot of Scientologists were smokers. So as manager of an arcade in like, what was it, 2001, 2002, 2003, I don't know, I got to talk to a lot of Scientologists, and their beliefs can be radical and different from what most people believe. They all seem like good people. Like, it didn't seem like Scientology was super evil. It was just like a different version of what other people were believing. Like I said, like, even if you had, it's like narratives. You have Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Like, those are the three Abrahamic like narratives that we have all been allowed. That's the thing I'm saying. I don't know, Tom Cruise, Keanu Reeves, Bruce Willis, Brad Pitt, they're all still here. We still got heroes on the planet. We are totally destocked. And yes, it seems like if you took some of the best male and female voices on the planet and put them in front of rock and roll plus techno type sounds, it could be the next level of super, oh my God, this is what the future of space music is supposed to sound like. Space symphonies for the moon. Like super level anime. You know? It's where we're supposed to be at. And I think we're at levels of that, but some people are being like, hiding parts of space travel gets me laid. Mentality of the party world that goes on in billionaire land. They put a big asterisk around all that. Outer space is frustrating, man. And I'm having a hard enough time handling my personal space. And by that, I mean Earth. Love you. I wrote the songs. Is that what's up? Crap. what happens is I start playing guitar, and then my mind starts thinking about crazy stuff, and then so I start not paying attention to playing guitar. So my mind's thinking about this wild, crazy movie stuff, and so my finger playing does not get as good. And that is, I taught myself how to play guitar. And so that is what I would just do, is I would find like the simplest combination of notes that I would just enjoy like playing them. Like, this is one of the, when I started to play guitar, was just when I found this spot in the guitar and you're like, oh man, I can just sit here and if you had roommates, they'd be like, can you learn a new song? And I'd be like, I'm trying. It's like if the next Avatar is underwater, but you can live underwater, so you're like floating around, flying around everywhere underwater, and pressure doesn't affect you that much. Got a great girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever you have. So you're holding the hands underwater, flying and jumping around. There's a bunch of cool shit happening all the time. And this part is I was like, oh, we gotta return to the rest of the world now. I've kept this thumbnail long for like 20 years, just because if I ever lose a pick, which I'm really good at, this thumbnail is always a good pick if you're a right-handed guitar player. Jimi Hendrix, who was the greatest guitar player in my mind of all time, and one of the greatest people that ever lived, and the greatest songwriters, he was left-handed, so his guitar was like flipped upside down. That is crazy to me. If you ever think about that when you're playing, what's it talking about? Oh, still got a couple. And so like this, man, if I was at a bar and there were 22 people in the audience listening to me play, I would be happy, and that would be so cool. And that is what it's kind of like what is happening right now. There are 22 people. And so in the Bill and Ted's Great Adventure, they're like, hey, you have to write a song that saves the world, which is a show that I've been working on. You can ask all the best musicians I know, and I know quite a few. They're like, I've had this idea for the show where a character named Thor, and I've been trying to put this together for like over a decade. Tries to put together a super band, and that the super band's gonna save the world. And the whole first few episodes would be about them, like the 20 people trying to name the band. It's a comedy. It's hilarious and it's awesome. Maybe someday. And so they get together for a weekend, and their only job the whole weekend, the 20 musicians and singers, is to name the band. But fights break out and things go wrong and people quit the band. Anyway, so if it was like 10 episodes, by the 10th episode, nobody would ever play an instrument or do anything that sing while they hang out at the party for the first 10 episodes. And then at some point into the 10th episode, the band would be it would be the first time they're like, fuck it, we're playing music. So everybody who was left would light up, and at that time it would only be 7 people. But they would be fucking amazing. And then chapter 1, season 1 over. Zoop. It's been the plan anyways. It's really cool. And I call it the Pretty Boys. Because when like our 4 hero dudes are walking down the street at one point when a big fight is broken out, our 5 main leads, like 5 of the singer ladies are on bicycles and they roll up down the road and they're like, oh look, it's the Pretty Boys. It's really funny. Anyway. And that's when the band happens. Like, they're like, all right, we're doing this. And you know, the girls are like punk rock, St. Vincent, badasses, or whatever. If you knew TV's Daniel, you would understand. All right. I was enjoying a beautiful summer day, and I don't care what she says. This is my personal energetic space. Please get out of my face. Woo, woo, woo. Thank you. I love you. Tip your servers. Protect your grandma. Be good to your mom. And if you are in a single romantic situation, try and pick good people you want to be with for the next 10 years. We're like in graduate school for the next 2 years. We're all in Space Force now. And I appreciate all the help I get, and I will use and take all the help I can get. Because we are all in Space Force now. And it's very Star Trek-y. We're like, all right, we were on a planet. And now we got to wear a mask while we're on this planet. Because the atmosphere is fucked up for some reason. Dude, and they've been thawing shit, and the earth has been thawing shit. Like, there's so many, like, we found a giant cave of little bacteria that were sitting there hanging out and got frozen 1 million years ago. And we defrosted that shit to see what happened. They've done, like, there's so many different things. The fact that a plague rolled around, like, it wasn't a super surprising thing that showed up. It's kind of like when I talk about an earthquake volcano in California. The last one was 1915. You had a volcano erupt in California. And then in the 1800s, you had like 11 volcanoes erupting all up and down the West Coast. You got 11 fucking volcanoes erupting. 1800s. And I don't think part of that is playing defense with petroleum extraction. Let's talk about, I don't know. Oh, so I was trying to metaphor the plague to volcanoes or earthquakes. Like, technically, as a global civilization, we're gambling that nothing major that has happened before will happen during our lifetimes. Like, everybody knows a big volcano eruption or a big earthquake or a plague is not outside of Earth's playbook at all and never has been. Technically, edge. And did you not motherfucking see 12 Monkeys? You know, we were shooting for 100 monkeys. Somehow we ended back at 12. You know, that's crazy. But that's where we're at. Yay, 2020. Disney bought Alien and Predator. That's wild. Fast healing abilities is good. But if I healed super fast, I probably wouldn't be this overweight. My healing ability seems to be a little lower than usual. But that can change. Why, like, if I had a girlfriend, the guitar is shaped just like a woman, the hips, shoulders. So at times, yeah, I'm just happy and dumb hitting that one spot, that one string. I could just do it on the right mood for hours, just go. And there's something about the lower back of a woman. But in the next decade, I'd like to get better at the keyboard and the piano. And technically, the key to the Western that I'm writing, the Cowboy Kid, the Christmas Kid, is 18. It's Gunfighter. And it's set in 1780. 1880. Window, fantasy, real life history. And so the whole gist of it is not only is he the best gunfighter around, he's also the best bar piano player around. And that so he's given up on life and the only thing he wants to do is drink and play piano. It just happens to be the best gunfighter around. At least that's where the movie starts. I don't want to get too into it. Bet it could be cool. We were riders. What? We were riders getting high. Today would be the day we died. I've got a mother you wouldn't understand. I've got the motherfucking Jedi blues, baby. My enemy is genocide crawling across the land. What? Why is my hand getting tired? Oh, I haven't been playing guitar much. Did that just happen? Maybe it was special for me because I'm 4 beers in and I can feel the strength. Boom! I'm out of beer again. How's that possible? Man, Slash wore a hat on his head. We played. I couldn't pull that hat off, but Slash's guitar playing, he could definitely pull that fucking hat off, man. To me, like, guitars are super cool. Sure, yeah, if I eventually had a girlfriend who knew how to take a 1-minute song and help make it a 3-minute song, that would probably fucking help. But that meant the day may never come. But yeah, like the dream would be to, have a super girlfriend who was a super hacker, but she was a white hat, played defense. That would be super great. And she was a great kisser. Oh. Seems like it should be easy to lay lyrics over that. It is not. Oh, do you mind if I get another beer? Noodles and wagon breath. Oh, and so in this Western, one of the also central main characters would be the cook. So if you're like putting together your ultimate super wagon hangout Western group, the cook is like a guy who can cook whatever food is around and make it super delicious. That is a super character where like his superhero power in the Western is he is just the best cook wherever the fuck he goes. And then it's kind of an unspoken thing amongst everybody is that keep Cookie alive. That Cookie is such a good, like, anyone who's eating his food is like, we all agree Cookie should live. And there have been times where over women and stuff, other dudes have been like, Cookie dies. And people always stand up and is like, fuck no, Cookie lives. And Cookie's the cook. And that, so in a Western 1700 society, like, two of our main characters in The Christmas Kid, or The Christmas Kid, was the best piano player in the American, North American, South American, and then Cookie is the best cook. So, yeah, and it would be a cool Western. If I understand writing correctly, when you go to write a Western, to attempt to write the greatest Western anyone's ever written. Like if you're gonna pick up a pen and a pad and be like, I'm gonna 3-act structure this motherfucker, and it's Western, by putting the pen to paper, you're strapping on the holster and sliding the guns in. And so if you're gonna write a Western, you gotta try to write the best Western that's ever been written. And so I've had, 33 years to work on the Western. But I do like pop Westerns like Silverado and Tombstone, to where there is a lot of comedy and a little bit of otherworldliness or out of this worldness. But then Tarantino then changed the whole game to where like you could literally take a historical event but then just change it up at any point you want, which totally changed the game right as the whole Netflix streaming syndrome concept came in, Yeah, so it would be great if we could all get together, work it out, and so I can then spend some time working on like an animated X-Men series, Marvel MCU DC with aliens, predators, and then I could work on this super cool Western. And I don't have to direct the whole fucking thing, But, you know, whatever. Be cool to get into a little fantasy, not have to play defense all the time. But I'm saying thank you. And thinking about that stuff helps me stay sane in these worlds. Because if the outside world is crazy, you can stay home and draw pictures and write stories, write songs if you want to. Christmas Kid. Sacred Rage. I don't even know what that means. At the time, I was like, those two words sound together. But that definitely sounds like our piano. That looks like piano player and our cook. And it's weird because like there's a whole concept of, you know, this is America in like at the turn of the 1800s, where like all the major decisions of the future are being made like now. And that we've just passed the sword to the gun and technology is not ruled at all, and so that any man, like any, there was no like internet trolling then. You get shot and killed for any reason at any time in a wild, wild west fashion, while technically they were still trying to keep it together while you still had rape and like genocide and like the crazy 1800s of America as we know it, and the gold rush and Chicago, but down to like the Galveston ports, like. And they all had the whole future ahead of them. And then, you know, when they pegged the dollar from gold, but like the 1913 thing when the Federal Reserve came in, it offered a fucking, it did offer 120 years of currency stabilization in some form. Like we made it from 1913 to now. And that from then to then, civilization was pretty much moving forward, though flawed in many ways. It continued to move forward as freedom or versions of socialism and communism. Like you can have a big brother argument over which citizens are dealing with 2020 better, the Russians or the Americans. Like we don't see a lot of whole TV about Russia. A lot of stuff doesn't come up about Russia or even Korea. But it is in a context of like a Western between like gunfighters, like currency stabilization and gunfighters. And James Bond, baby. It's crazy. Whoa. Hey, how are you? Yeah, before I got into making videos, I used to write movies. Just and the whole gist is at some point in the movies they were always called saloons. And then someone said, man, this bar is better than a bar, is more valuable than bar gold, more precious than bar gold. And then from that point on, they became called bars. I thought that would be cool. Because it's all about, like, that's the whole point of the Western is all the cool guys and women that come together decide they're going to build like the coolest bar town in American history. That the Cowboy Kid over 3 movies or whatever episodes, that the whole point is that it's very like everybody comes around to just help make the coolest town ever. And that yes, America is still being fomented and created and adjusted, and all the things are still going on in the same context of the 1800s. But at this one time, all these like coolness just became like the best of all around, everywhere. Just came to this one fucking town. And it has this whole aspect of the rulers have like quote unquote hidden technologies, which would be like Gatling guns, like they're the only ones that had Gatling guns, or just minor technological advances that allow them to live a secret life in their super rich people town. It's a really great concept. You know, I thought it out. I still write movies in my mind, I just don't write them down. But I'm madly in love with that Western. Christmas Kid. The opening scene of the very first one is so cool though. Because that kid just wants to play a fucking piano. It's all he wants to do. And there's no one that's going to stop him. He's going to play that piano. Boom. Yeah, so I think you're going to have working on, I don't know, people haven't adjusted to streaming yet. Not in the best ways you could do it. Oh, and so yeah, back in 1996, I was talking about YouTube. I was talking about how everyone would have their own stage, have your own channel. Everyone would have your YouTube. I was talking about in 1996. You're talking about like movies and videos and stuff. And so that as the world has changed, we've changed to a streaming economy, but it's even like the whole streaming mindset, whether it be with talent or shows, is still trying to stick it in the old hole. That no one has really showed the new age of where narrative storytelling is going. And the plague is making us all simplify. Goes back to, if it ain't on the page, it ain't on the stage. It ain't on the page, it ain't on the stage. Ooh. Hunk, chunk, drunk, all 3. And do you think about planets a lot and their orbits and moons and asteroids or even solar systems? You know, how it all works. But it's all kind of coming around. Like, think about even the planets and the asteroids. They're all in this weird orbit that like nobody can explain, moving around each other, and it's kind of how we are as human beings, that in our own way we're moving around like little asteroids, sometimes coming really close, and some people get caught, like when you get into a friendship or a relationship or you work together, you like then start to orbit each other, like, and then but now during the plague year it's like whoosh, it's spread everybody out, and so we're like type of velocity of emotional or energetically, where we remember the days where all the planets and stars orbited much closer, and then like we'll eventually be we'll pull back into different orbits. Did I say that well? Did I have 4.5, 5 beers in on 4th of July? What time is it? Did I put that well enough? Kung Fu Politics and Catwoman. I would read that. Harry Potter and Kung Fu Politics and Catwoman. At some point, I was like, dude, Emma Watson and Amelia Clark should give me minimum to write something for them. You know, the fact that we don't have their two voices dialogue bantering often and well is a crime or whatever. I mean, it's something you gotta think about that. If we're dealing with this plague for 2 more fucking years, that like a lot of the music industry and music production, as you know, has been shut down. Like big shows, movies have been shut down. Like it's gonna be much. You can, different people will be able to adapt to it. Like Mike Judge is like, fuck it, we'll do From Home, Beavis and Butthead. We're going back to 2D, baby. I mean, you can still adapt, but like the way we're used to doing shit, it's gonna take people a while to adapt to it. So the pipeline of movies and TV shows and content of that super pro quality is gonna be, there's gonna be a giant gap for like 2 years. Like the Avengers Endgame, that movie with all those people and all those effects, like it's gonna be hard for them to pull that off on the same level, anything close, for a year and a half minimum at best, even if everybody works together with the right mind. Crazy. But it's weird. I forget. When was the first movie camera made? Was it 1905, 1915? Somewhere around there. When like the first movies were made. Technically you can go back, I think 1892 or something, where the first thing that would qualify as a multi-picture projection thing. But the movies really didn't, 1920s was where they really started to go town to town. You know? But that like movie, like that was, you didn't have media or production quality narrative salesmanship, but that like movies fucking changed everything. We went from Nanook of the North to Citizen Kane in a very short period. And it was partially how Hitler got elected, was that Leni Riefenstahl, like in German money adjusted for inflation, they spent $1 billion making Triumph of the Will in like 1938 or something, 34, somewhere around like 41. I don't remember. No, not that deep. But so they spent $1 billion of money at the time when Germany was doing well on the best filmmaker at the time, Leni Riefenstahl. They made this giant propaganda movie that's like 90 minutes long. I don't know, 60. And it's just basically saying like, it shows Hitler coming in from the clouds in a plane, like, woo! And they used the first, like, when movies hit the scene within a decade, they were figuring out how to make Captain Dipshit look like a hero. And if you go back and look, he's always like, hey, I would be Alex E. Jones, and the whole time, if I spoke to you, I would be yelling like everything about what I was saying, with like this type of brass, and everything I said, you would like, you would not know, you would get tired of the bayou. That's crazy, man. So it's like a short period where humans went from the sword to the gun to the cinema. And then they put 24-hour news in your phone in like 2001, 2004. And that, anyone who's 30, 40, 50 can tell you that going from when you had the phone on the wall to having everything in your monolith changed everything in the way everybody looks at everything. And so it gave power to the same people who took Hitler to power in like 1920, where like people became so fucking ready to buy the bad plan. It's a crazy thing. Although our weapons technologies are much greater. Yeah, let's get back into it. If you had a Prometheus moment, it is when mankind figured out electricity. They're like, humans stayed on like a 30,000 year of evolution and progress. Humans kind of stayed on it. We know at least goes back 30,000 years. And then once you got electricity, like before electricity, humans didn't have the power to destroy everything on Earth. Humans didn't have the power to kill billions of dolphins and fish or people or pigs. But then we got to electricity. Electricity changed everything. And we're still like only 200 years into the electricity age. And so, you know, it's like the Bill and Ted, party on, dudes, be good to each other. And the giant black monolith, which is now your phone. That changed everything. Crazy shit, bro. But I definitely think the mixing of all races has created more beautiful, stronger people. That by mixing all the people from all across the planet over the last 100 or 200 years, we have created some pretty special people that are here now. And in my opinion, having looked at footage from as long as footage has existed, women definitely seem more beautiful now than I would like. And you can never know. Like that, even if it at one point, most of the Earth only had 1 billion people. Like now we have 7 times that number. Anyway, what's it talk about? But, and so you can take a picture of a beautiful woman, and that if you're a man and you were underprepared to see that billboard, that picture, that image, that one image can be like, it can literally change everything you were thinking about in that instant just with that one single image. And there is no other image on the planet I know as effective as changing a man's mind as great photographers capturing beautiful women and then projecting it on whatever. And I get in trouble, I think, for talking about that aspect, but that aspect is totally there. And then like Madison Avenue has helped cover that shit up. Crazy. Ooh, wait. So we're gonna have Johnny Depp and Margot Kidder. Wait, whatever her. Oh dang. The girl from Once Upon a Time in America, Hollywood. That was a good movie. Yeah, hey, I love you guys. Fuck. But when I get off here, I gotta go deal with my computer shit. And dude, I don't like dealing with computer shit. I like dealing with digital shit. I like dealing with. But I don't want to be whiny because I'm saying thank you. And I don't know the other end of the energy where they're like turning off my microphone or fucking up my computer, like whatever level their panties are in a bunch that bad around a holiday that is based and centered in freedom, supposedly. I'm over here trying to do the best I can to enjoy my life and provide the best planetary defense around. Trying to save grandmamas. Or earlier, I bought the dude a mask at the grocery store just because I thought it would help everything moving forward and to protect grandmothers. The whole karma aspect, like I don't. People will fuck with me when I'm trying to save lives. And this isn't even fucking hurricane shit where a hurricane may or may not hit, where the like Thanos numbers are climbing not only in our country but on our planet. And that Texas was doing fucking great. And then Texas stopped doing great. And so, like, a day after our governor did the right thing, someone is super fucking pissed at me. And so, on top of the normal Earth death situation, in 2020, we've seen 500,000 people die extra on top of whatever is normal. And that it seems like no matter what, unless I don't understand things properly, sparks are going to continue to fly. And I bet all my chips on God, Jesus, and karma. And Michael, Archangel Michael. That there are those who protect the people, the animals, and the planet. But there's a possibility we could fuck it up like Mars. If Mars is anything like we understand it. But from every telescope and photograph I've ever seen, it looks totally brown. Or orange. Or dirty. Like, not dirt, but like Doesn't look like Earth or Venus, or Jupiter or Saturn. Like they all have multiple colors that are swirling. And you may not say that as the same with Jupiter, Saturn, but I disagree if you look at green properly. This is talking about, oh yeah, the people who are like, the same people who tell people not to fucking worry about the plague are fucking with me on 4th of July. So this is me unplugged in our little Zion. And I'm totally unplugged from the Matrix. And that includes Twitter. Like whatever fucking is happening right now. Major shit could be happening. Earthquakes, volcanoes. I don't know about it. I don't think that is happening right now. I don't think crazy shit happened. Super crazy happened at the Rushmore thing. Because there was a negotiation period. I don't know. You know, and it really is as simple as like, how can you help everyone? Wear a hat. Except for a hat, it's a mask. But at the end of the day, you're a ball player. Like, how are you gonna help play defense? Wear a mask. Ain't that tough? And no, it is not as cool and as comfortable as not wearing a mask, but we're dealing with the motherfucking plague. That run of songs? Maybe. Whoa! If you leave me, know I love you so, and we'll always be friends. This is the first time I've ever popped a string on live. So thanks for being here with me for such a pivotal moment. And I missed the trash can. Oh, I guess it's wrap it up. I think I'm a bit toasty. But I appreciate you guys. What time is it even? Dude, it's 1:06. In that moment, I was thinking about Alexis, Amelia, and Selena sitting on a bench together, all with looks on their faces. And it may have been the coolest thing I've ever fucking seen in my entire life. It was like 360 days ago. 358. Ooh, I hear something happening outside of my apartment. Could it be a wonderful surprise? I'm totally open to happy surprises. I am absolutely 1,000% this deep into 2020, totally open to super happy, awesome surprises. Oh. But if, you know, just in case, bad guys, I don't have a gun, but I have a hammer. And if they don't have a gun, that, if I did have intruders, just having a hammer increases my chances of playing decent defense in home defense. And you can do a lot of damage with a fucking hammer. And a guitar. Like if I had to sacrifice. Because if you're playing defense, you can use your guitar with your left hand. Playing offense, you use the guitar with your right hand. But usually they'll be like, I got a gun. Do I look scared though? Death is around. Death has been around all year. And we've had a bunch of fucking people go, death is a hoax. I'm still here, you're still here, we're still here. Ooh, made it again. Doing good with the beer bottles, but it's only like 5 feet away. Is it really that impressive? But when I was a tiny child, if you were my girlfriend, you would get sick of me telling this story all the time. In Chicago, they had a show called Bozo the Clown. And so they would have kids in the audience, and then they would pick some of the kids to, you would throw a ball, they would have buckets, like one bucket a foot away, one bucket 3 feet away, one bucket 5 feet away, one bucket 7 feet away, one bucket 10 feet away. And if you could make it into that final bucket, you would win like the coolest bicycle you'd ever seen in your life, or the coolest above ground pool you'd ever seen in your life. If you could make it into that final 5th bucket 10 feet away. So I don't know, I was like 5 years old, and they're like, boom, you picked, the bright lights, everything. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna win the pool, motorcycle. And I go up and I missed the first bucket with Bozo the fucking Clown and a rows full of kids, people standing around holding clipboards. I missed the first fucking bucket. It was like missing a fucking 1-inch putt. And here I was at 5 with all the lights on me. It was like, fuck, I missed the first bucket. Fuck it. And then, fast forward, 43 years later, I'm a Planetary Defense Commander. But definitely that moment affected me. I'm not scared of clowns. I'm scared of the depopulation situation getting more aggressive and getting worse, and it's sliding into some horrible fucking sci-fi, like where the predators and the aliens have taken over the Marvel and DC and the X-Men and human beings and cats and dogs. We all end up popsicles, but then they torture us when they shit us out. Like some weird ass shit we can't even comprehend. Like Spanish Inquisition of a million years ago. We had to fight that shit down. But I don't think that's going to happen. But if, instead of making a giant movie about cats at the end of 2019, they would have made it about dogs, the plague may not have shown up. Because I bet a movie about dogs would have been much funnier. And comedy is what we need. So yeah, I want to turn this off and check out what is going on with the world, but I don't want to fucking plug back into the Matrix. This whole vacation thing that like dealing with your technocrats is less fun than dealing with bankers, or dealing with oil guys, or dealing with military, or dealing with bartenders, or dealing with bankers. For whatever reason, the digital guys are a different fucking breed. They seem to be bad at communication. And in no time do they ever have to deal with honesty. And they're mean-spirited for some reason at times. Especially around the holidays. Which brings us back to the beautiful women that people get mad at me talking about. Like, people getting mad at other people or having displaced aggression because they made bad relationship choices. Like, the reason partially they're mad or angry or upset or jaded is because whatever romantic situations they got themselves in over the last 10 or 20 years were not the smartest fucking things on the planet. So, like, when I say reduce the abuse, if we could have less women starting fights amongst men, that would help. And if we had less men starting fights amongst men, that would help. But till September, it seems like everybody's going to be concerned with the stock markets and the fucking election. That is the only game in town. July 7, August 8, September 9. So that gives us like anywhere between 60 and 90 days. The stars are bright, big at night, deep in the heart of Texas. Everyone I know loves a good show, deep in the heart of Texas. Harry Potter Hogwarts shout out. To all the cool non-muggles. So yeah, like I was talking about, go back, circle it around to, that makes me want to get another beer. I don't have kids, dude. I don't have kids. I don't have ex-wife. And so I get that everybody wants and needs schools to start up as soon as possible, but that is probably not what is going to happen for the next 2 years. 99.9% of kids may live through it, but their teachers might die or just get really fucking sick. Especially in the colleges. The tenured people are all on the, like, their chances of survival are much lower. And the people who are getting educated, chances of catching the virus are super high. And so to solve the situation, you would need like 25-year-olds to fucking teach college kids. Oh. And that is a giant fucking deal. Like, of all the things that we're dealing with, all the parents who are now having to work and take care of their children at the same time, it is a major, major, major change. And then between that, you have parents that have been divorced or not even married, but still like interchange the kids back and forth during a plague. At the end of the day, the military is the sheriff. So you got your mayor, you got your sheriff, and then you got your preacher, and then you got your cook and your piano player in the bar. It pretty much is boiling down every town situation or the overall picture of everything that we are dealing with. And so during this gold rush, you're having a plague and a gold rush where they can like print as much money as they want. They're like, so that sector is like, yay, we've got super new Bitcoin, we've got super new euro, we've got super new dollars, we've got super new yen, we've got super new renminbi, we've got super new ruble, we've got super new sterling, you know, super new peso. We got fucking gold rush where the gold is just pouring out, man. At a time you have the plague. And the military is the sheriff. But the military also has children that are in the school program and the college program. Then you got the super rich on their own fucking island, safe away from everybody else as they try to get some clusterfuck herd immunity, especially in the United States of America. Or like out of everywhere else, if they're trying to torture a single place and have that place do it the worst, our country got fucking picked. They're like the herd immunity plan is American grandmothers. It's crazy, dude. 2020. Yeah, pro sports and schools and concerts are probably not coming back for 2 years. And a lot of money is going to be made for them trying to trick people or force people to go back into bad situations where they're not protected. And litigation precedent has not been set, but they can still ride the stock market's ups and downs and almost mock the people with their Muppets. It's fucking crazy. And I love you. So 3 Air Force jets have crashed this year, which seems really high for the number. And that any school or university is like the definition of bureaucracy. The way schools and universities operate is by giant committees and giant bureaucracies and giant teams making decisions. And so those are the least mobile and apt to change. And then we understand that they've created a system, like public school seems to have kept prices down forever, but the whole trick is then when you go to college, that shit, like you're paying $200 for a single book. Like if my college class required this Nostradamus book, they could like only require this one, and then they could charge you $315 for this university Nostradamus book. And then you got to get like 6 to 8 books for your semester. And so you usually, when you went to the American Hogwarts, you would spend like $1,000 on books just to go to college. Somehow you'd only be buying 6 to 8 books. Those fucking books would be so expensive. You'd be like, what? How is this shit possible? How am I buying a $300 book? So when I went back to college and filled out all the credits, took all the classes and shit, the reason I didn't get my diploma and never got to walk the stage is because I checked out 16 books. They were 22 days late, and they tried to charge me $300. And I was like, no offense to you, ma'am, this whole library, but fuck y'all. That is outrageous. And the University of North Texas, while I still love the university, like they had the most efficient, when you parked around campus, to where like if your meter ran out within a single second, boom, they had somebody writing you a ticket, like bam, wherever you parked, the second. It was the most efficient money system I'd ever seen. And then if you got X amount of tickets, your car got booted. Anywho, they were really great at parking meters and selling you like $1,000 books, $300 books. I don't know how I got on the subject, but I'm just saying that like universities have gotten to charge exorbitant giant fucking prices that are like outrageous for 20, 30 years. And with all the federal grants and state grants, and that like government has always backed these $300,000 educations. And when I went back to college, it was the campus experience as a writer. Like that's what college is about. And so they're looking at charging 20-year-olds $30,000 for a semester or two to not get a campus experience, where literally you can YouTube how to something, whether it be how to change my camshaft in my car, or how to cook a fucking omelet, or how do chemicals react when put with each other. Like you can learn everything if you're self-taught, like online or in books that have already been made. And so whether it be like Billy or whoever, that it would be cool to whatever the next 2-year university is. That like we get to figure out how we're gonna spend the next 2 years of this crazy fucking graduate school. And I'm going to do my best to help everybody solve all the problems. And if I did get a girlfriend and it went super serious, I would like 2 or 3 years without having children. Can I put that out there? So maybe I could just... because I'd like to spend a lot of time playing your lower back like a guitar. Was it talking about? Yeah. And it's weird how they're keeping the, like, we're all going back to school in the fall. Not me, I don't have kids, I'm not in school. The mentality bubble alive through pro sports. Whereas, like, surely high schools, elementaries, and universities are coming back in September because they're going to play baseball, bro. And if they can play pro baseball, your kid can sit in a fucking class and learn about geometry. I don't need a boat, but I would love a girlfriend. And that's why if I had to choose between a boat and a car, I'm definitely a car guy. What time is it? You guys are hanging out with me on 4th of July. That is wonderful. 129. And that car is giving us a beat. Can you feel it? Okay, now I'm gonna put on glasses. Where did they go? I don't even know. Fuck. Perhaps next year. Hello, Misty. Hello, M. Hello, Noodles. It is 11:30 p.m. in Vancouver. Noodles, did you know that I never knew what poutine was? And then I Googled that shit because everybody was talking about it. And I found out it was like French fries with cheese curds. And cheese curd is only something I heard in like Wisconsin and Illinois or Minnesota. And so I understand the magic of cheese curds. And then so I just found out that like it's a Canadian total cuisine delicacy. And so I Googled in Houston, and there's a singular restaurant here that supposedly claims to cook poutine the Canadian way. And so that is on my list of things to do. It is like 10 miles west. You can't get natural takeout or delivery. But I'm going to have some Lego waffles with some maple syrup. And that, I'll probably eat the poutine and then have the waffles as dessert. But I'm going to have my own personal Wolverine Canadian Day. And then hopefully one day I will visit Canada and eat actual poutine. And I always think it's got to have like a Louisiana sound. I don't know how you guys say it. Poutine. Hey, baby. I get some of that cheesy sweet poutine. Okay. What's it talking about? I don't even know. Yeah, but so I have a new poutine obsession. I love y'all. I want you to have a happy 4th of July. And yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna make it another 30 minutes. I tried. Fuck! But if I turn the camera off, I gotta rework my computer and try to close as many back doors. Whatever. I just want to go look at Twitter to see it. Like, I mean, the oceans. Like, at a time when you're just watching the fucking oceans to see what is going to happen. And the GFS has been putting out this thing where, like, all of a sudden the low swoops down from the Midwest. And then it like, some runs have shown it totally developing by Mexico and Alabama. And then as it develops, spinning backwards into Louisiana. Multiple runs have shown it. And that the oceans are, no matter, even though we're not getting hit by hurricanes, oceans are still doing super incredible with the atmosphere, super incredible fucking things. And so if there's one thing that is cool every day to watch, watching the sun and our atmosphere is always super fascinating. And so anytime I get an hour away from the atmosphere where I'm watching everything to see if it looks like anything is developing really fast and can be dangerous, like whatever is developing, Asteroid Fight Club Atmospheric Defense Team seems to be done a super job since 2019. But that shit that just bubbled up out of nowhere by Florida right before the eclipse, and with the model showing some type of a retrograding system, you know, I don't know. I'd like to be able to ingest all my solar and weather data without having to fucking fight people online. Because it is hurricane season. And I just thought about both Selena and Billy's butts. So does that mean I'm going to hell? Oh. But I should definitely turn it off. Fuck! Then I gotta deal with the shit. You gotta reset or change all your passwords and it just becomes a fucking hassle. Why? Trying to save grandmamas. But I'm glad I'm still here trying to save your grandmama and my mom and everybody. And if there was like a 8.9 earthquake that just hit California, I think by now someone in the chat would have been like, yo, dude, what the fuck are you yapping about all this shit for? A chunk of California just fell in the ocean. But it would be cool to go with you guys into the 4th of July on the West Coast as well. But shit, I got real tired. And I love you, and I love y'all. Thank you for all that you do. And I'm so glad we're here in this shit together. No matter the weather. Yeah, it's like the universal basic income for the next 2 years. Everybody's in Space Force now. Everybody's in college now. Everybody's adapting to all this now. So everybody basically gets a minimal salary to help everything work properly. And to keep you and your family fed. That is the best way to go. Love you. Stay cool. God bless everyone. Happy 4th of July. Thank you. And thank you.